The best AR-15 for SHTF? Let's check it out. The AR-15 is my go-to rifle and my personal defense option. If there was ever any kind of SHTF or grid down situation, the AR-15 would be my primary rifle. Now, there are a lot of great choices out there, whether it's the AK-47, which is known for its durability and reliability, and then there are a lot of other options. I mean, there's so many. But from everything that I've read and studied and the polls that I've actually sent out, the AR-15 seems to be the overwhelming choice for SHTF. And there are a lot of good reasons for that, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But one of the things about the AR is there are certain key elements that are vulnerable, and you need to make sure that those bases are covered. And so today I want to take a look at the HM Defense, and this is the Defender 5. And there are some features on this AR-15 that surpass your basic AR for durability and reliability. I did a review a while back on their pistol, but there are some features with their gas system, with their gas block, and their bolt carrier group that really put this ahead as far as the durability, but it's also just an excellent rifle in itself. When it comes to a self-defense firearm, you want something that is uber reliable. I mean, this bomb-proof, something that you can depend on, that will last. And it's one of the things that the AR-15 has always been the red-headed stepchild to the AK-47 as far as durability. But one of the things about the AR to me is that it is just the ergonomics are superior. And that's just for me. I love AK-47s. I have a number of them. But the ease of use with all the controls, just the ergonomics of the rifle, the way it handles, of course with the 5.56 typically, the caliber is soft shooting, and of course you can go with a lot of different configurations and new calibers. Your standard AR-15 is typically more accurate than your standard AK-47. You're talking about 1 to 2 inch groups, and really falling more to the 1.5 or so inch group at 100 yards. With an AK-47, you're really looking at between 2 and 3 inches. Another thing about the AK is that it's much more difficult to attach optics. You do usually have to have a side rail, or you can do some of the other options, but it's usually a hassle. One of the things about the AR is that it is optics made. I mean, it's ready for optics. And with your Picatinny rail, there's so many different choices. But now, typically your AK-47, you're shooting a lot of the surplus steel-cased ammunition, which is very cheap. You can shoot it in your AR, but I typically don't shoot a lot in my ARs. And so that is an advantage of the AK. But on the transverse side of that, with the AR-15 being so popular with military, law enforcement, the parts, the ammunition, all those kind of things are going to be more readily available in a grid down situation. The original M16s, though, were very tight tolerances, and in the jungles of Vietnam they had a lot of problems. And that reputation has kind of carried through over the years. But with all the innovations that have gone into the AR, these are very reliable rifles. But there are some issues and some points that really could be strengthened, and that's one of the things that the HM Defense has done with their rifles. There are 2 elements that they have put to these rifles that I've never seen in any other AR-15 that makes this, to me, the bomb-proof SHTF rifle. Now, of course, we all want to be safe, so let's double check to make sure the gun is unloaded, and it is. Now, from outward appearances, this rifle looks like any other AR-15. One thing about ARs is that they can vary so much in price. You can go from a $600 rifle all the way up to a $3,000 rifle. A lot of that has to do with your bolt carrier and your barrel. Those are the heart of your rifle. And those are two areas we're going to look at, because really, again, when you look at this rifle, it looks like just an AR-15 rifle. But HM Defense has really put together some things that I've never seen with any other rifle system. Now guys, I did a review on the HM Defense Raider 5, which is a pistol version of this rifle. And we went through a lot of the details, but I really wanted to hit this over to the Sensible Prepper channel, because these are critical areas that if you are in an SHTF situation and you are depending your life on a firearm and you choose the AR-15, to me, this is the best option. Now, the AR-15 was designed with a front sight post that was an integral gas block. Right here, there's a hole in the barrel, and we're going to look at that a little bit closer. But in the barrel, it comes up the gas, and it goes right through your gas tube. This is a pretty strong system. It's attached right here with pins. You can drive those pins out though and pull that front sight post off. And this is actually currently what the U.S. military uses. But because of free float handguards, really to increase your accuracy and make the rifle just more ergonomic and slim and be able to put attachments on your handguard, there's gas blocks have been designed to be able to fit that were low profile. Here you have your gas port right here, and this is where gas comes up and goes out and actuates your bolt. It's what actually cycles the rifle. The gas block fits over it and locks into it. There's a small hole in the gas block itself. And then here your gas tube goes in. It's something that we've been using for a long time, and typically it works well. The big problem is that you're attaching this to the barrel. And sometimes you have dimples in the barrel, which this one does not. And so you're having to screw down set screws. You're having to make sure that you have your holes aligned just right. Now, in the stress of firing a rifle, there's a lot of pressure that's coming through here. This can be canted, it can be turned. If these screws come loose, this thing can just come loose, and then this is going to affect the reliability of your rifle, if not completely stop it. Now here we have the HM Defense monoblock. This is your gas block, but it is an integral part of the barrel. It's not been welded, it's not been attached in any way. This was actually from the original stock, the steel stock that the barrel's made of. They made the monoblock around it. And so this is one solid piece. It's always going to be aligned. There are no set screws here. The metals are identical. And so guys, if you shoot a lot of AR-15s, you have probably experienced some issues with your gas block. It's not typical, and on most of my rifles, I've been shooting them for years and they're fine. But this is a weak point. Now, another key element in reliability is your bolt. And bolts are very important. They really receive most of the brunt of the action when these are firing. I mean, they're slamming forward, they're bumping, they're pulling back. Your cam pin right here holds your firing pin into place, and you see this hole that goes through it. You place it in, your firing pin goes through, and this holds it, and then the bolt actually turns and pivots like this. So there's a lot of stress. Now, as you can see, it's just open, and there are two walls right here, and these walls are breaking points on a lot of bolts. So HM Defense decided to address that weak part of the bolt. And one big thing, and this to me is just innovative. I mean, it's just super innovative. It's a solid piece on the back. There's no open hole. It's going to eliminate that weak point right here. It's reinforced in the back. The cam pin itself has been shortened just a little bit to make it fit in here without going all the way through. And this is going to make this bolt really strong. And it'll be much more superior than your standard bolt. One great thing is HM Defense does offer these separately, and they fit into any of your standard M16 or AR-15 bolt carrier groups. So you're able just to switch this right out without any other change. The bolts are made from 9310 steel, and the cam pins are 4340 steel. So it's a very solid system. Now the monoblock is set at a mid-length gas system, so that's also going to help soften the recoil, which definitely softens the abuse on the rifle itself. It makes it a lot less violent. A lot of guys over the years have said that these rifles were designed with a carbine length gas system, but that is with a 14.5-inch barrel, which is the M4. With the 16-inch barrel plus muzzle brake, the mid-length gas system works best. So we've got a soft shooting rifle, which is going to help you to get more on target quicker. It's going to be much flatter shooting. HM Defense produces their handguards. This is a 6061 T6 aluminum free float handguard with M-lock cuts in it, and then it has, of course, relief cuts on the top. And the attachment points of your handguard to hold in your barrel are very secure, and you've got like points here on the other side and underneath. Here we have the HM Defense muzzle brake. It has chevron cuts on the top, down here at 4 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. It really helps mitigate recoil. HM Defense also makes an integral muzzle brake or compensator into their barrel, just like the monoblock. And it is one piece that is part of the barrel, and again, it eliminates harmonics and changes. And one of the reasons why they can do that is because the monoblock's on there permanently, and if you're trying to fit a typical gas block over your barrel, you have to remove the muzzle brake. And so this way they can actually make a muzzle brake onto the barrel with the monoblock gas system. Now, HM Defense is clearly marked on the lower receiver. These are 7075 T6 aluminum, which are up to mill specifications. On the dust cover, we do have monoblock with the flag, and then here on the bolt carrier, we have HMB. So clearly marked which rifle you're picking up. These are made in Mount Orab, Ohio. And one of the things about HM Defense is they make most of the parts on this rifle. And so they really know what they're doing, and then when they're putting it together, it just gives you some confidence there. The lower parts kit is not made by HM Defense, but they are all made in the USA. In fact, every part on this rifle is USA made. Now, one thing that kind of surprised me was that HM Defense actually makes these stocks. It's a very smooth stock system, ergonomic, has the loops for your slings, QD points, but one thing that they do is make this about a 1/2 inch longer, and we have a rubber butt pad here that's a very nice addition, and of course you can adjust this to whatever length you want to shoot. Magpul Mo grips, and they have an extended trigger guard that's actually, again, produced by HM Defense, and this is polymer. Included on the rifle is one of the HM Defense QD end plates. So you have a QD point right here for a single point sling. Now let's take a look under the hood, but I want to point out the takedown pin and the pivot pin have divots or dimples in there to make it a little easier, especially if you're using a punch. Here we have our standard mil-spec trigger, and properly installed. Not a bad trigger. M16 bolt carrier group, looks like it's been black nitrided. And then, of course, the bolt. HM Defense takes pride in their process of installing their barrel extensions, and you can see the M4 feed ramps. Now, the addition of a Trijicon ACOG to me for the prepper is a perfect mate for this rifle. These are built like tanks. This is the 3.5 power ACOG. Has a little bit longer eye relief. I really like this. And of course it has, your fiber optic rod. It has tritium inside, but then it has etched reticles. This is a bomb-proof scope. The tritium will last a minimum of 10 years, maybe longer. You can send it back to Trijicon to have it fixed. But even if your tritium expires, you still have the etched reticles. The ACOG has been used by the U.S. military for over 20 years, and these are excellent scopes. They're expensive, but they're definitely worth it. I want to thank Freedom Munitions for sponsoring the ammo. You get a 5% discount using Sootch00 at Freedom Munitions website. Now, all these features are great, but is the gun reliable? So one of the things about the HM Defense firearms, whether it's the pistol form or this rifle and the Defender M5, they are uber reliable. I mean, I've never had any malfunctions whatsoever. Even when shooting the Fostech trigger, we were shooting about 1,000 rounds through that pistol on binary, and it just functioned like a charm. I mean, it just blew through that ammo with no problem. And also with the rifle version, I mean, it's just a smooth shooting gun. The one thing you don't have to worry about are, the gas block coming loose. You don't have to worry about, the bolt staying together. I mean, it's got that added feature to it. It's going to give it more strength. And so again, that's just going to give you more reliability. But as far as, malfunctions or anything like that, we had no issues whatsoever. And the accuracy was really good. I think with the Trijicon ACOG, which is a perfect mate for this rifle because this to me is the ultimate SHTF scope. You've got the etched reticle, you've got the illumination for night shooting, and then you have this fiber optic, which really just brings out the reticle for daylight shooting. As far as prices go, these start out at about $895 for their base model, and then I think this one is $1145, and that is manufacturer suggested retail. Typically in distributors and gun shops you can get it for less. Again, they do carry a number of different calibers, a number of different configurations as well. And I want to thank HM Defense for sending this rifle for the test and evaluation. Also the extra barrel and the battle ready bolt for me to show for demonstration. This is a great little company, again, out of Mount Orab, Ohio, and they're really doing some innovative stuff. So hopefully I've given you some food for thought for choosing the right option for SHTF as far as the AR-15. Again, guys, there's a lot of different rifle choices out there, and it's a lot to do with personal preference. Me personally, I've been shooting the AR-15 for so long. I know the controls so well, and I know how to take this thing apart and put it back together again almost blindfolded. And because of that, that is a big advantage for me. With the features that the HM Defense have on their rifles, I think it gives you an added advantage to the reliability and the durability of these rifles. And in an SHTF situation, that is critical. So guys, if you're really serious about prepping and survival, check out Survival Dispatch Insider. It is one of the best resources on the web, and I upload one video a week that's exclusive to Survival Dispatch Insider that you're not going to see here on Sensible Prepper. So check it out. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. This is the perfect AR-15 rifle. Perfect home defense option. There are a lot of great options out there. So HM Defense decided, now while all men are created equal, not all ARs are equal.